This is one of the most beautiful bread, made with a liquid dough. No kneading, just a little effort. Yet inside, you get those big airy bubbles. And everyone loves that open crumb, right? Just mix, let it rest, and allow time to do the work. If you love easy bread with incredible texture, this one is going to surprise you. So let's get started. You know, this Italian bread is famous for two things: that floury crust on the outside and the airy, chewy crumb on the inside. And a lot of that texture comes from bread flour. For today's recipe, I'm using 480 grams of bread flour. That's about 16.95 ounces, or roughly 4 cups. But if you don't have bread flour at home, that's totally fine. You can use normal plain flour and still get good bread. Once the flour is weighed, add salt. Mix it gently and keep it aside for now. We'll come back to it in a moment. Now, let's prepare the yeast liquid. I'm using normal drinking water today. The water temperature is around 40 degrees Celsius. My kitchen isn't hot today, and the humidity is a bit low, so this temperature works perfectly. I'm using 480 grams of water, which comes to about 16.95 ounces. Same amount as the flour. Yes, this is a high hydration dough. If it feels really difficult to handle the first time, you can slightly reduce the water. It's always okay to adjust. For yeast, I'm using instant dry yeast. Easy and reliable. No activation needed. I'm adding 1.5 teaspoons, about 4.5 to 5 grams. If you're using active dry yeast, pause here for a moment. Activate it first with lukewarm water. Wait until it looks foamy. Now, add extra virgin olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, roughly 30 milliliters. This helps with softness and flavor. Give everything a good mix. Sure the yeast is fully dissolved before moving on. Once this liquid is ready, we'll bring everything together and let time do the hard work. Now, grab a large mixing bowl, add the flour, then pour in the yeast liquid. Start mixing until everything comes together. Today I'm using a Danish dough whisk. It's perfect for sticky, wet dough like this one. Honestly, it makes life much easier when baking bread at home. But don't worry if you don't have one. The method matters more than the tool. As you mix, you'll notice something right away. This dough is very sticky, messy, lumpy. This is a 100% hydration dough. It won't look neat. Just make sure there are no dry patches hiding in the bowl. You can see it here, sticky, loose, almost wild. That texture is what later gives us those beautiful airy bubbles and that soft, springy crumb. Once everything is mixed, now cover the bowl and let the dough rest for 1 hour. This rest is doing a lot of work quietly in the background. The flour absorbs the water, the gluten starts to form, and all of this happens without kneading. After 1 hour, take another look. See the difference? The dough already looks smoother, more smooth, and easier to handle. Now, lightly wet your hands with water. This prevents sticking and keeps the dough happy. Now we start the first round of stretch and folds. Take one side of the dough, gently stretch it up, and fold it over to the opposite side of the bowl. Rotate the bowl a quarter turn. Stretch, fold. Repeat this all the way around the bowl. No rush here. This only takes about 2 minutes. And no, it's not hard at all. This simple movement strengthens the gluten slowly without kneading, and over time, it's what creates that light, open structure inside the bread. That's it for this round. Now cover the bowl again. Let the dough rest for the second time, about 45 minutes. When you come back, you'll notice the change right away. It feels smoother, a little stronger, and much easier to handle. This is a good sign. Lightly wet your hands again. No extra flour here. Water keeps the dough relaxed and prevents tearing. Now it's time for the second round of stretch and folds. Use the same gentle motion as before. Lift one side of the dough, stretch it up slowly, and fold it over. Turn the bowl. Stretch, fold, move calmly. There's no need to rush this step. Each fold is doing something important. It's holding onto air, building structure, and slowly shaping the crumb we want. This is how we get that soft with big irregular bubbles inside. Cover the dough once more. At this point, you have two good options. You can continue with 2 more rounds of stretch and folds, keeping the dough at room temperature, or you can slow everything down. Place the dough in the fridge and let it rest overnight. This longer rest strengthens the gluten naturally, and more importantly, it builds deeper flavor. So choose what works best for you. Both work beautifully. If you've kept the dough in the fridge overnight, take it out and let it sit at room temperature for a while. Once it relaxes, gently transfer the dough onto your work surface. Today, I'll show you 2 shaping options. For large loaf, no cutting. Just lightly dust the surface with flour. Lift the dough gently and transfer it straight into the baking tray. Let it rest for a short while. While dough is resting, make sure to preheat your oven to 230 degrees Celsius. Then it's ready for the oven. For smaller breads, I have another dough here made with the same ingredients and method. I'll divide it into smaller pieces using a cutter. This works perfectly if you want dinner roll size bread. Press the cutter straight down, then twist gently until the dough is completely cut. Once the pieces are cut, transfer them to the baking tray and let them rest for 15 to 20 minutes more. Before baking, don't forget to create steam in the oven. This helps the bread expand properly and gives a better crust. For the large loaf, bake for 25 to 28 minutes. For the smaller pieces, bake for 15 to 18 minutes. Always adjust slightly depending on the size of your bread. Every oven behaves a little differently. And look at this, beautifully baked. When you make this bread at home, just remember a few key points. First, use high-protein bread flour if you can. Second, don't be afraid of high hydration. Third, an overnight rest builds better structure and flavor. And finally, always use steam when baking. Get these right, and this bread will never fail you. So, how's the recipe? If you like it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share it with your friends and family, especially anyone who wants to make easy, no-knead bread at home. Subscribe for more simple, reliable recipes like this one. Until then, enjoy and happy baking.